what would you say to the person who is getting gossiped about, but everyone doing it doesn't think they're gossiping?
Okay.
And doesn't have the intent of hurting you.
Right.
Like, what would you say to that person?
I think the person needs, I think if you know a few of the people it's coming from, I think that person needs to go address those people.
Okay.
And say, and confront them on it.
And where's the...
and say, that's not okay.
I guess where's the line of, I wasn't gossiping and you shouldn't feel ashamed that people know about this? Like, where's that line?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Because someone thinks they're just actually, I don't say they think they're doing you a favor, but they're also saying, not a big deal, don't worry about it.
Right.
If it's a big deal to that person, you should worry about it.
Every time?
I think if it ends up hurting someone, and that's something that's sensitive to them for whatever reason it may be, we need to honor and respect that for that person.
Okay.
It's not our right to just go say whatever we want to about other people, whether we know it or not. You know, knowledge about someone or something is never a license to act or to perpetuate that knowledge to other people.
I guess, like, how ashamed should I be of sins I already did?
Yeah.
Or stuff that I already did.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so...
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm asking. Like, is there a base level of, I shouldn't be accused of gossip if I'm talking about this?
Right.
That a person does.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I guess here's the thing I would say to you.
Okay.
Before you go telling other people about it, talk to that person.
Okay.
And maybe find out why it's a big deal to them.
Because you mentioned, like, overly sensitive people earlier.
Right.
And what is overly sensitive to you?
And this is where I think this is the nuanced grayness of all this conversation, right? Because overly sensitive to me is calling something gossip that is not. In this context of this conversation of gossip.
Okay.
And so, in other words, if I am exposing someone's faults, their past or from their present, then that would be in line with gossip. Whether I feel like it's okay for the world to know that about them or not. Okay? What I was saying with the overly sensitive people on gossip is, it's one thing for me to just expose people's faults. It's another thing for me to say, hey, I disagreed with someone on something.
Okay.
Because I feel like that's what happens a lot too. Like, I get in a disagreement with somebody about something, and I'm talking to someone, hey, I got in a disagreement about them. This is what we were disagreeing about. And I think it may be no big deal because it's just a disagreement. But the other person takes it as not just a disagreement, but they take it personally.
As if you're trying to get other people on your side of the disagreement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or if, and I think that can happen.
Okay.
And that would go back to the intent part, right? If I'm trying to build myself up over and above this person, then that would get in that gossip world. Okay. But I think the overly sensitive part would also be, let's say I'm not trying, the intent's not there, and the information I'm sharing is not private. It's just, hey, we disagreed philosophically on something, right? Or we disagreed on an opinion on something, or we disagreed politically on something. Well, my disagreement with you is not a personal attack on you.
Okay.
And I think that's where in our culture things have broken down.
Okay.
Is because we can't have disagreements without it being a personal attack.
Okay.
And so let's say I disagree with you on something politically. Okay? I'm not attacking you. I just disagree with you. I'm talking to someone else and we're talking about politics, and I was like, you know what? Well, I was just talking to so-and-so, and we actually, discussed the same topic, and we actually disagreed on it.
Right. So you're saying that if I disagree with you on that I should own that disagreement.
Yeah, own it and not take it personally.
Okay.
Not assume I'm personally attacking you.
Right.
Because I'm not.
Okay,
I'm
so
just disagreeing.
what if it's like I tell someone that you drive a Toyota,
Okay.
but you are ashamed of your Toyota and think that you should have an American car.
Oh, okay.
So I go tell people, hey, Joseph's the guy that drives the Toyota.
Right.
And now you're mad that I went and told everyone because you feel ashamed of it.
I see. I see.
Is it my fault for gossiping, or is it your fault for having some stupid reason why you think
Right.
it looks bad on you
Sure.
to own a Toyota?
Right. Okay. I see.
Like,
So we're talking about, yeah. Okay.
I'm talking about like just the dumbest thing.
Right. And I think, okay, I think this is where the oversensitivity can happen on this other side too, right?
Okay.
Because it goes on both sides.
Okay.
It can go from the person being talked about a little bit too, because they're not being talked about, right? You're sharing what you believe just to be a fact about this person.
Right.
They have this vehicle. There's no ill intent. It's not a secret. If you know what they drive, you know what they drive.
But they like always park in the back of the parking lot,
right?
So no one sees that they're driving a Toyota, and they printed out a sticker of a Ford logo and put it over their, just like the dumbest thing imaginable.
Okay, yeah, okay. I do see what you're saying there, and again, I don't know if I would call that gossip.
Okay,
because again, the intent's not there to bury them, right? Or to call them out for their failures or their faults somehow, or to belittle them, or to build you up, or and again, it's not like it's a complete secret. And I think, and if someone got their feelings hurt about it, I think that's just where, all right, let's just talk about this.
So what is the sin called, or whatever, or character flaw, or whatever?
Okay.
I don't know if it's a sin or not, of being overly sensitive to everything.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a sin.
Okay.
I think it's obviously, if you're oversensitive to everything, there's such a lack of love for yourself.
Okay.
So therefore you have no self-esteem, right? You have no confidence in yourself. And there's that, again, just a lack of love for oneself. And so therefore you perceive everything else to be a rejection of you.
Okay.
And so I don't think I would call it a sin. I would call it the fact that that individual would need to learn to actually love themselves. So they're not so offended at every single thing that's said.
That's what I'm trying to get. I guess where I'm trying to get to is how does gossip, when does person being overly sensitive stop?
Right.
And gossip begin.
Yeah. And I guess that's where I was saying for that very first point of the definition, like that intention of my heart is my intention to belittle them, is my intention to expose them.
Okay.
Right. So I might not know. Okay. So the person that's ashamed of their Toyota, right? Mm-hmm. I have no idea they're ashamed of driving a Toyota. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to belittle them. I'm just sharing, hey, they've got a Toyota, right?
But even if I know that they're ashamed of their Toyota, is that so dumb that it's not gossip anymore for me to tell people?
But why would you say something that you knew was shameful to somebody else?
Because it's dumb and no one should be ashamed of that. If I'm trying to not sin by gossiping,
right,
and I'm relying on everybody else not being overly sensitive,
sure, then
I'm going to hell.
No, I agree with you. If that was the standard,
yeah,
I agree with you. So that's what I'm saying. Like, no, we cannot always know how someone else is going to respond. But what I'm also saying is, if it becomes very clear to you from this person that for whatever reason, this is bothering them. Okay. Let me maybe take an assessment of that. And not say it. Now, obviously, if it starts like mounting up and this person is just bothered by every single little thing, then I need to have a much different conversation with them. That's more than just, why are you upset about this one particular thing?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that helps.
Okay. Yeah, because I think that's the difference. I guess I was thinking of it as like an isolated example.
Okay.
But if that's the case in a person's life, like they're just sensitive to every single little thing, then I think that's a much different conversation that needs to be had with that individual.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it could get to, now I know that they're sensitive about everything.
Uh-huh.
So if I talk about them at all,
yeah,
then is that if I say anything about them at all, am I intending to harm them. Since they are overly sensitive about everything?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't think so.
Okay.
Because again, I can't control how someone else reacts or emotes. Okay. But what I can be sensitive to make sure that what I am saying, to the best that I can, is not exposing them or pointing out faults and failures. But if they're sensitive to every single little thing,
right? Like I go meet their dog, and the dog's really nice, and I go,
right,
"Hey, I met whoever's dog, and it was why'd you talk about my dog?"
Right.
Like,
I know.
What am I supposed to do?
I know.
Am I going to hell now because you suck as a person?
No, you're not. Okay. You're not. And I think we probably all do know people that are like that.
Right.
They're just sensitive to every single little thing, and where you feel like you're just walking on eggshells, like the least little thing will set them off.
Like, I told you never to talk about me.
Right.
And
yeah. And the reality is, like, we understand that they're creating unrealistic expectations.
Okay.